Is the CTA part of the organization that's going to make it simpler for publishers to publish content and just focus on the content development and not the compatibility? Because it seems like that's a pretty compelling issue for you.
I hope that CTA will make some efforts in that space. I think a lot of what they've been doing is trying to improve the interoperability in the streaming industry, and so I think like it does feel like CTA WAVE is the kind of the right arena for that. One of the issues that I think today makes deploying streaming solutions really complex and challenging is that we have a lot of different application development platforms. Just before this call, I kind of went and counted, the number of app platforms that we have at WBD that we just developed for Macs, and it's basically about a dozen or 16 different application development platforms. Now, there's overlap between some of them, so Android TV and Fire TV are kind of more or less the same thing with slight differences, but at the end of the day, you're looking at probably like at the very least half a dozen different app development platforms, and then worst case scenario, you're looking upwards of 20 or so app development platforms, especially once you start considering set-top boxes made in Europe or Asia that might be like HBB TV compatible and so on. And so that's a lot of complexity because the same app needs to be built over and over and over again, right? In different programming languages, using different platform APIs. And I think as an industry, we're kind of unique in that sense. I'm not actually aware of any industry other than streaming that needs to develop that many applications for the same thing. If you're working in any other, I think, industry, if you're working in fintech or anything else, right? You typically have to develop 3 applications: a web app, iOS app, and an Android app, and you're done, right? And so it's kind of crazy that in our industry we have to go build over a dozen different applications. But the practical challenges that then brings when it comes to things like encoding and packaging and so on is that it's hard to know what the devices support, because there is no spec, there is no standard that essentially allows that specifies APIs, for example, that every different device platform could call and expect standardized answers, right? So when we talk about media capabilities of a device, like what are we talking? We're talking about, we need to know what decoders are supported, right? For video, for audio, but also for images, for text, right? Time text. We need to know what different segment formats are supported. Is it CMAF? Is it TS? Like, what brand of CMAF, right? CMAF has this nice concept of brands, but nobody's really using it, right? Like, you need to, like, in order for that concept to be useful, you need to be able to query a device and say, well, what CMAF brands do you support? Manifest formats, right? There's different versions of HLS. There's different profiles of Dash. There's different DRM systems, right? And so these are all things that we kind of need to know if we want to place something back on the device and play it well.